how's it going, people? We're gonna move over to a different one while we sit here and catch up. So this is episode 2 of our Vampire the Masquerade game, set in England, a war among brothers. As a quick heads up, one of our players won't be making it tonight. Cam won't be here. He's not feeling well, so we're gonna send him well wishes and hope he feels better and makes it for the next game. The rest of the night was just you getting situated in the home of your new friend. He obviously lent you out the second home that he has in town.
Mind marking that home?
Yeah, sure, I can do that.
Sure.
When Roll20 lets me actually use the paintbrush option.
American.
Also, I believe Val and Hoofer has something to speak about. So house next to Elgate. Gate L, excuse me.
There you go. Get a box.
This guy.
I guess it's better than 2 lines.
Not everything's high production quality. Right, Chad? Right? Fine. Chat's following.
What's K, if you don't mind me asking?
K is my list here.
A little legend.
Yeah, the little legend. So K is the Polyman Tower. It's a slightly larger tower than the other ones.
Once seen a home and all of that. Sure, Val and Hoofer used to speak, so they probably would walk off to the city somewhere.
Yeah, just
Okay.
take a stroll. Looking around the city, just taking everything in. What time is it right now?
Right now it's about 8 o'clock.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking, little brother?
Since it's 8 o'clock, I'm guessing people are walking around.
Yeah, there are still people out and about. There are people who are still working, especially down in the harbor. The harbor never really ends until the wee hours of the morning, right before sunrise. It's usually the quietest point for the harbor, but the rest of the town does quiet down by that point. So,
All right. Yeah. Just looking at the people walking around, Val just slightly nods his head, just taking everything in.
This will be even easier than we thought.
I suppose so. This town does seem relatively easy, as you stated.
Perfect.
Maybe too perfect.
When has anything ever been too perfect for us? These people are weak. He says, conspicuously looking in the direction of Nathaniel's house, which we just happen to be crossing a street that leads there.
how convenient.
Yeah, we're probably like passing the end gate now.
Too soft.
Yes. Let's play our cards right.
Do you want to wait?
For now. Let's assess the situation we're in for now.
Wait and watch.
Yes.
Good idea. The docks first, then.
Then see what's big around here. Docks. Val looks over at the castle. I'm guessing the castle is like high above every other building here.
Yeah, the castle itself is a larger institution, obviously, than everything else inside the town. It has fairly prominent features. You can recognize instantly that it's a style from your time. When you were still mortal and walked the earth breathing, this was a castle that definitely came straight from that era. If not, it has some resemblances to being from after your time to a degree. But there's still obviously some tidbits that do resemble things. It looks like the castle itself, much like the city walls that encompass Southampton, are a makeshift of both old and present times.
It's a bit smaller than I was used to, but
Easier. Good start.
yes.
Apparently, we've been asleep for a long time.
He says, just glaring at someone who's just staring at the, tapestry of his face. So someone just left it hanging loose. All right, it happens.
I'm getting tired of this, little brother.
What would you like to be done?
Ideally, the next one that stares might break his jaw.
We don't need even more people staring at us.
What do you suggest?
Daniel did suggest he can get a blacksmith or something to help you out.
I don't need to wear a mask.
Not a mask, but something to keep everything in place.
Damn that soft, pompous, noble ass. I've a better idea.
Ulfr drags Val into an alley and produces a knife. God knows where he found the knife.
I've a better idea. Fix my face, little brother. Cut it all off.
And
my
he
God.
just thrusts it into Val's hands.
Do it quick.
Ooh,
Gonna set down my food now.
right? That meat flap's about to come off.
Is this what you really want? Not something helping you?
This'll do. It'll heal. Eventually. Whatever stops these people staring.
I wouldn't want. What would make them not continue to stare with their markings like this? And if I'm not mistaken, we heal almost everything, correct?
I've no idea. Only one way to find out.
That's what you want.
Stop putting it off, Val. Just do it.
Val starts slicing off one side of the flaps.
Ulfr just, yeah.
To
how
explain
it
to newer
hangs.
viewers, Ulfr has a condition. He was horribly scarred right before his embrace, and so he has chunks of flesh dangling from his face. And as a kindred, they stayed that way when he was turned into a vampire. So,
Kind of like his pasta. You know when he raises it to his face? Just like that? Kind of like that.
I'm still gonna eat it. Not that turd.
Ulfr just bites down and just bears it.
After finishing both sides. Val would hand the knife back over to Ulfr.
How is it
Ulfr,
we're dead? That's
You're
still
gonna be
hurt.
taking one lethal from this action.
I kind of figured, yeah.
How is it we're dead and that still hurt?
You did notice it hurt much less than you thought it would.
Yeah, well.
But, I mean,
Yes.
we're talking relatively. You still had your face just cut off.
Just the meat flaps.
Ulf just looks down at the I cannot watch you eating right now.
So, my only kind of concern is, what do we call him now?
Still Weaver.
Yeah, but Meat Flaps is at a table. We gotta have a name for his face.
Hey, who knows? It might come back.
I mean,
If
they
it
will.
does-
We don't know. I mean, Ulfer doesn't know that.
Yeah.
That's true.
They
Ulfr does
definitely
not
will.
know that. But he's gonna go to sleep tonight. He's gonna wake up the next morning.
Very
His meat
disappointed.
flaps are gonna grow back just like a pair of mutton chops.
Oh God! If that's so
You know the
true.
best part is I bet they're long enough you could use them as reins like a horse.
Jesus. I hate everything about this.
Meat reigns now. God damn. Oof.
With that grim work done, Ulf just nods and puts away the knife.
That's better. Right.
Yeah, and then he steps out into the street to see, you know, how that passes.
Wow.
Zach, while walking down the street, of course, you know, gotta
Mhm.
keep remembering this.
Of course, yeah.
Some lights do go up.
Yep. You hear the occasional "God damn it!"
Unless the difficulty is 7
No,
or 8. Whatever. Okay.
no, they go out.
We were promised something by that Jotnar. Do you remember, little brother? Some texts.
Yes, still waiting for the large one to hand me everything. I'll go over it.
So, Ulfr, as you step out from the alleyway to gauge the response of the locals, you immediately come across a woman. She happened to be rounding the corner right by the alley that you step out from. She turns, looks at you, gasps, clutches her own shirt, drops the basket of food that she had, and immediately scrambles, scoops it into the basket, and bolts.
Ulf just kind of stands there and then looks at Val.
So
Well,
that's not better.
What I say again?
So that's not better.
As I said. Let's go back to the home, see if we receive the tomes.
We should find someplace else. I don't like being indebted to
Of course.
that thing.
He says, you know, looking like, I don't know, Slenderman's worst nightmare.
Right, I was about to say, coming from you, Jesus.
Yeah, Ulf just follows Val.
Okay.
Yep, just heading back to the coterie home.
Okay. So, you all head home. Is there anything...
Wow.
Simple man. I see a vampire
Wow.
to follow. How's it going in
Wow.
Philadelphia by night? So, the coterie seems to be, for the most part, gathered here at your temporary but comfortable abode provided by the ever-kind Ventru that you've just met. What are you guys doing there?
Val is seeing if the tomes that Thaddeus said he's going to send is here.
Thaddeus, can it be assumed that you did?
I mean, I wrote the papers, and if I can get into the church, I would have gotten the whatever he said his last name was. Books. If he said that, I don't remember.
I don't have
You
time to
mean
go back to
now?
the entire thing.
Well, like in between sessions, I would have done.
If I recall correctly, he introduced himself as Alfonso of Aragon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I don't think I would have been able to get your family, whatever the fuck.
Well, Alfonso is the name, technically.
Oh,
Family name.
then yes, I would have gotten those too, and I'll hand them to him. And be like, the top one, right? After it is read, you burn it.
Why?
Why? Because we're trying to keep our existence unknown. Right? And a book saying these are all the rules and regulations of being kindred is no good.
What fool would believe you?
I don't know, somebody who wants to already?
While they're speaking, Val, like, begins looking over the first tome, seeing that it's basically about kindred and all that. He looks at it, but then looks over at the book about his family and starts reading that.
Okay. So, pouring through your family's history, there's a number of notable events here and there. Conquests, businesses acquired, movements of wealth, shifts in power within the family. What are you looking for exactly?
Traces of his sister.
Okay. Give me a... What do you have that you think would be applicable? I'll ask you that instead.
In my knowledges, I have academics. That will probably be the only thing that will apply to this.
Okay. Yeah, you can roll an
Unless you want to call
academics.
randomly.
No.
That's a nothing.
Still won't use the built-in roller I provide.
This macro I made is much more convenient.
Everyone should shame Cross. Val, the Aragon family has seemingly nothing to say about her in the book. It notes her birth, but not much else.
And my birth is there too, right? Are you sure?
Yeah.
Not taken out?
Yep.
Okay.
Yours is there too. It does mention your disappearance. But for her, it just never mentioned again.
Val looks over at that. And puts one hand on his head. Then pinches the bridge of his nose. And just slides that book away.
Real quick,
Mm-hmm.
give me an intelligence and occult roll.
I'll be a 1. Or 2. No, just 1.
Okay. Just one?
One.
Okay. Okay. Well, as you do look through the book, you get just kind of a general sense of disappointment, really. There's not really that much revealed about your sister. Wherever she's gone or what happened to her is not really that recorded. Or at least it's been thoroughly removed. This book might be perhaps an edition of the family tome that doesn't have everything complete. Your family is fairly large and well known, so there might be one that's more accurate out there. But as you go to push it away and close it, you notice something weird about the book. You notice that the back of the book itself, the back cover, is thicker and more spongy.
I would take a look at this.
It's hard to pinpoint exactly what's up with it, but it does seem weird. There's something up with the back cover.
Is there a secret compartment somewhere that's hiding something?
It doesn't seem like there's a secret compartment, like a lock or a mechanism. It doesn't seem like it's that big. If it does have anything in it, it would have to be incredibly thin.
And I want to feel the back cover. Is it a hard cover? Hard or soft cover?
It's hard.
I guess. Okay. Does the back end show an outline of something in it?
Yeah, like where it would be on the inside of the back cover. It kind of seems like when you look at it closely, it kind of seems like there might be something there. But it could just be the glue that is used to apply it.
Is everyone around me still?
Ulfer's probably somewhere near.
I would have probably sat somewhat close in case you had any questions.
Okay.
Scotty is probably throwing her daggers at a new piece of furniture that we don't need.
That's rude.
That is really rude.
Yeah, well, she plays out in the mud, so what do you expect from her?
But
Throw it at the wall, at least.
Val would feel along the edges of where he believes this outline is, or sees the outline, takes his dagger, and he would slowly cut into this.
That is also incredibly rude.
Yep. Fuck this book.
I mean, it's his own book.
I was about to say the same thing. I mean, it's technically his.
Right? Like,
It's
it's
a book
about
written
him.
about him and his family. It's like, oh, I just want to draw a dick inside of my family book. Well, that seems fair. It's your family
Well,
book.
it somewhat hurts a little bit. Kind of likes books, But
I mean, you're just cutting the back cover. a
You
little.
still managed to slide the knife that you have on you underneath the cover of it gently and just kind of pry open to see at first if there's anything in there. And immediately you can see there's a folded up piece of paper in there. And you cut out the rest on the bottom, of course to minimize the damage of such a precious thing like a book. Because it's written by hand, it takes time, effort. And you use the edge of the knife to kind of dig slightly into the paper underneath and pull out this unusual piece of paper.
Is it folded or just?
Yeah, it's folded up once.
Okay.
In half.
Is there anything written on it before I unfold it?
No.
Okay. I unfold the paper.
It's a scratch bit of writing. You instantly recognize it though. It's a letter. And the first thing you do is you scan through it and reach the bottom. It's signed your sister. The more curious thing is that it's written about 60 years ago. He has it dated and everything. The letter just goes on to explain where she's been, what she's doing, how she's thought of you and made an attempt to search for you when she had the time, but has more or less resigned that she won't ever find you.
Looking at the writing and such, and looking back at the book, different handwriting. Making sure.
Oh, and the actual book itself?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. He looks over at Thaddeus. Have you read this book before or seen anything about it?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
No. Figured it'd be best to let you look at it first.
Have you, I was somewhat a little taken back of, he keeps rereading the letter, looking at the date.
Of course.
How long have you been around?
Not particularly.
Not particularly long.
In general, or
Yes, let's go with that.
overall, probably 70 years.
70.
This form, about 30, 40.
Val folds up the paper again. I'm like, I see. And takes the paper and stuffs it in his jacket or whatever he has pocket, and
Okay.
he'll back over at his book or at the family book, and is his family line gone per se?
The last entry for this particular book on your family was dated about 20 years ago. It had alluded that there were not as many family members. A number of women were born, so of course they were married off, taking names from others, and that split some of the wealth of the family. But there are 2 male heirs that would conceivably still be alive.
All right. I just get a slight nod at that, closes the book, and then again set it aside. Then he will pull up the book on kindreds and such and start just learning about them.
Okay.
You mean to imply you were born almost 100 years ago?
Me?
While he is looking right at you with a terrifying frown.
I guess. Yeah.
You do not seem frail or taken by age.
Yeah, I died at 30, so don't age much after that. Also got turned into a gigantic rock monster. That's quite a factor, I assume.
A thought occurs to Ulfar. He grins for a very brief moment, and then that's it for him. He's done talking.
Okay. Here's a question, Zach.
Sure.
When I totally didn't steal the book, how dusty was it?
It's fairly dusty. It looks like it's had a handful of years of dust caking on it. You are fairly experienced with books and them sitting around for a while, so just looking at it when you saw it, you'd guess it's probably been about 10 years since it was last touched.
For what it's worth, I don't think anyone's touched that book for at least 10 years.
Val, looking over at the book, is like 10 years no one has touched my family's book.
Doesn't seem like it, though. We are a bit far from where your family is from.
That is true. Surprising that the church has my book, or has my family's book. Wouldn't think another country will hold someone else's lineage.
Yeah, I don't really get it either.
While still reading over, he would just raise his voice a bit, speaking to Scotty. Is like, what is your plans for tonight? While she's, throwing daggers at the furniture.
The continuous thud. Thud.
I was literally just
Thud.
writing. I was like, thud, 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 and I totally missed my chance. Makes me so sad. Scotty would just say, she just kind of shrugs, I don't know.
You should.
Tonight. Oh, go ahead.
All right, keep going. Keep going.
Maybe tonight I'll do nothing, or maybe tonight I'll go find something to prey upon. Don't know.
Don't get into trouble too much. Familiar yourself with the city. Knows how long we're staying here.
That is my plan. Hunter must know his ground before he hunts.
Yeah. Val will just have a small smirk on his face while reading, and then continue reading.
Is there something special about in that book?
My family's one. Just reading my lineage, see how far I have gone.
And how does your family fare?
Seems they're still going strong. Ish.
Sounds like good news then.
Yes. And this book about our kind, I guess we should call them now. It's quite interesting. You said you have 2 dots in it, Kevin? Right?
When you're
Yeah,
done
sure.
with it, if I have a chance to read it, I would like to.
Sure.
While you're all sitting inside the home, eventually you hear a very faint thud. And it's not from Scotty's knife.
I was going to look. I look over at Scotty when I heard the third.
Oops, did I miss?
It's a thud from the other side of the house. In fact, it's on the outside of the door.
Don't look at me. It's the door. Thud.
Wolf takes a sniff. Does he smell anything particularly dangerous?
No, he doesn't.
Already got
Since
guessed
I don't
here.
think you consider the average man to be dangerous.
No. Wolf's just gonna stand up and answer the door. Just crouching down so he can fit, his head through.
Oh yeah, that is the question. Is the doorway smaller than Nathaniel's place, right?
Yeah, oh yeah. A little
So
bit.
Taller than 5 feet, I hope.
Yeah, they're taller than 5 feet. They're about right at the 6 foot mark.
Yeah, so like chest level.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
hide.
You could do
I'm gonna
if
hide.
you wanted.
Hide, Moon.
When you open the door, there's no one there. Except for a note into the door with a knife.
That's fucking rude.
Wolf just grabs it, hands it to Val without looking, grabs the knife, shuts the door.
I'll want that.
He just throws it at Scotty. Just throws it at her.
I would love to catch it.
Roll for it.
I'm not
Val.
making an attack. I'm just not making an attack. You know what I mean?
It's just
that's fine.
throwing, and it's in her
How
general
does
direction.
3 successes sound?
Sure, you catch the knife. You're just like... Val, as you read the note, it's immediately apparent that it's a threat. It's a note.
Ooh, from who?
I just keep reading.
All the note says is, we don't want your kind here. You bring disease and plague. Lepers are not welcome in our city. Be gone.
Man, that's just not nice.
While I'm reading it, I fold it up, and I'm like, we have fans,
Fans?
if you want to consider that.
What does the note say?
I'll read it out loud to him.
Well, that's just not kind at all.
They use this word. Lepers, or what did he say? I can't remember. This
It
disease. We're not a
specifically says
disease.
Lepers.
Yeah. What does this?
What? You would know what lepers are.
Yeah, you
I
definitely know
assume.
what a leper is.
It's definitely not a time thing if you don't.
It's
Yeah,
entirely. This could. Hold on, Zach. Is this a particularly well-researched bit of history from you? Because I'm impressed if so.
Be proud of me.
Wow.
Wow. Clap. Everyone clap.
Hey, hey, I research history all the time.
What are we proud of him for?
He means us, Saint Mother. You and I.
As I said, fence.
His face stretches into. Well, he doesn't have lips, so it's impossible to tell if it's a smile or not. But he doesn't say anything.
I'm gonna be honest. Can we not see any of those little meats that are in any? I don't really know much about face anatomy. Like, is there any meat there? Like, what's going on?
Oh, there's meat there. There's tendon. All that stuff's there. It's just the skin that's not.
The jowls have been removed.
You can always just try to move your jaw back. Like,
This to him in character.
I think you should just resort to winking from now on.
Jesus Christ.
Here's my smile. Wink.
Even though I don't want problems within the city for right now, we are newcomers. I don't take fans, as he says sarcastically, lightly.
We just
Interesting.
got here. How did they figure out who or what we are?
Kind of not hard to miss two giant people, new people.
Any half
yeah.
blood fool would make you for a Dane, Saint Mother.
It's, for as far as we know, the 13th century. It doesn't matter where you're from, you're a Dane.
Hard to argue with those facts.
That's rude.
Hey, I didn't make history, alright?
But aren't you actually a Dane?
So is she.
Alright.
Very obviously a Dane also.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, let's continue reading the Book of Kindred stuff.
Okay. It just has a general breakdown of how the Camarilla operates. Just more in-depth rules and stipulations than what you were previously told the night before.
Yeah, I believe Kevin said he had, 2 dots in Kindred Lore? Should I just look at those?
Yeah.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Ulfr doesn't say anything. He just gives a look to Val and steps out.
I just watch when he leaves and then goes back to reading.
Okay.
Scotty goes to reach the note, maybe investigate it, maybe learn its handwriting if he hears any whispers, or sorry, she hears any whispers from it or anything like that. I've got Enigma's investigation.
Do you have any investigation?
I do, I have 2.
Okay, give me an intelligence and investigation.
Only because it was easier.
Okay.
I don't know how many successes that is.
That's a 2.
Remember, if I don't say a difficulty, it's always going to be 6.
That's right. My bad.
So, you commit the handwriting to memory. You're making sure that you're going to pick it up next time if you see it again.
Thaddeus, are you doing anything tonight?
No, not particularly. But
I
why?
wish to take a look around the city, and with this night this note suddenly appearing, I have no idea if it's safe. It'd be nice to have some aerial surveillance.
I guess I could follow you. Sure, why not?
I'm just going to venture around the city. So, hide as you wish and as you know, and we'll end your whatever you do by the time we get back at this house. Scotty picks up their knives, crank, and then leaves the house. Assuming she has time
Okay.
before the sun comes out.
It's like only like
Yeah.
9 o'clock
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah, you got time. You're fine. So,
Oh, Thaddeus leaves. That will say, I might have questions when you come back.
Okay.
So, we're gonna go over to Ulfr. Ulfr, where are you headed?
Ulfur trying to be inconspicuous, trying quite hard to be inconspicuous, is going
The
to,
hardest.
go about the neighborhood to try and pick out their new friend. Just gathering some information right now.
Okay.
Just going to see if I can find our new friend.
The one that left you a lovely note just recently, or?
That's the one. Yeah.
Yeah, our fan.
Okay. Give me a perception and alertness roll.
That'll be 2.
3.
Oh, right. Yeah, it's 3. God damn it. 3.
One day we'll have the option for exploding dice built in.
No, no,
Or-
it's just
Well,
abilities.
you know.
I already do.
You know. You know.
If I want to, I can just add it.
So, Ulfr, you don't see your new fan.
I
However,
wasn't thinking.
you do
What?
spot a new companion, someone that's recently joined you. Within moments of spotting the bird, it lands on your shoulder.
Valraffen, why are you still here?
It just stretches its wings, almost preening, looks at you, and then takes off again. And goes around a corner, the alley.
Well, Ulfur follows. You know, still trying to quiet his steps and stick to shadows, that sort of a thing.
Of course. The raven moves through the alleyway with surprising agility. It's going somewhere with a purpose.
Hey, this divine messenger hasn't led me astray yet. He's found me a nice, juicy friend who gave us a house. So yeah, sure. Yeah, I refer to my friends as nice and juicy. That's normal.
Very normal. We all do it, right, chat?
Yeah.
Ulfr, as you follow the raven, it winds through several homes before it stops. It lands on a small market stall in front of a smaller shack of a home.
Is the stall empty?
The stall itself is empty.
What about the home?
The home, you see one light very faintly, probably a single candle, if you had to guess.
I'm going to approach and see what's inside.
Okay. So, you try to look in through the window, or?
Sure.
Okay.
Would you like
Looking into the
stealth?
window. Of course, you guys still have to hunker down to look through a window. But within, it's fairly obscured. You can tell that there's cloth draped over most of the window itself, but you are still able to make out the silhouette of at least one person inside. Inside, it's hard to tell what's going on. There's the soft glow of the candle and the silhouette of the person around it, but all you can see is what you would guess is their back. With the soft orange light from the candle, you can see that inside, the few things that you can see include paper, ink. It looks, even from this angle and this poor vantage point, it looks fairly dusty inside this home.
I was going to ask if his fingers were ink stained, but I guess that tells me. What can I tell about this person?
You, looking at at least their silhouette, you would guess that they're probably closer to, you'd say probably about 5'8", 5'10" in height.
Tall?
Yeah, a little bit taller than average, but nothing that stands out as drastic. But that's all you're able to really make out from here. It's still a little too dark to be able to see effectively with the poor view that you have anything else like facial features or hair color or anything like that.
Can I tell anything about his profession?
No.
Okay, is there any more information to be gleaned from looking into this man's house?
Not particularly, no. Other than you'd have a rough guess that this person either doesn't live here and is just using it, or they don't clean ever.
I choose the don't clean ever.
Interesting.
As you're watching, the person stands up and turns around and starts heading for the door that's right next to you.
Walker tries to flatten himself against the building, just almost willing this guy not to see him. Yeah, I don't have anywhere to hide. I'm grabbing my knife just in case.
Sure. Go ahead and make a roll for me.
Dex and stealth?
Yeah.
Would you like another one?
I would.
Still 3.
Okay. So, the person opens up the door. They're wearing a cloak, which would explain why you weren't able to see much else about them. With the cowl pulled up over their head, it's going to be impossible unless you could see through objects. The individual moves right past you. In fact, they move directly in front of you and even looks in your direction. Doesn't notice you.
Interesting. Fortunately, and this is weird, but I happen to be able to see perfectly in the dark.
Very convenient.
That is very convenient. I'm gonna make note of his face.
It's a very distinguishing face, too. It's not a face that you would mistake anywhere else. When the person's face is turned...
Alright, carry on. What?
The face has a very distinguished set of traits. A scar running along the left side of the face, close to the eye, but not quite over it. And gray patches of hair on the face. It's clearly a man, but there's nothing else.
Actually, as it is the 1600, I should be able to tell both by sight, but also by smell. Is this guy a laborer? Is he a peasant? Is he a noble?
He has a lot of signs of being definitely a peasant.
Yeah, making a note of those features, just staring right at him the whole time. He's not afraid or anything, obviously. This guy is like half his size, literally. But he's just surprised. Head cocked. He's going to see if he can just follow him. See how this is.
Sure.
He doesn't care about where he's headed. He's more curious as to how this is. How is he not seeing him? Yeah. See how deep this rebel goes.
Considering everyone else's reactions thus far on the night,
Yeah.
that would be startling.
Notably less terrified. This is good.
You know, while
The
he's doing
man
this,
moves
Val
through
is
the
reading
alleyways.
off his gate.
Ah, so that's what's happening here. Yeah. The subject of your interest, Ulfur, he moves with purpose through the alleyways and makes his way out of one of the smaller gates, right by the coterie home, out into the open fields. And he continues east.
Okay. Has he once looked over his shoulder or at me or given me any
He
indication?
has looked over
at all?
his shoulder several times.
Yeah, I mean, has he ever given me any indication at all that he's taken me somewhere?
Not at all.
I mean, I have nothing else
gives
to
off,
do.
He gives off the air of he doesn't want to be followed.
Well, good thing there's no one following him, then I guess. Let's keep following him.
Yeah. So, you continue to follow the man, and he immediately makes straight for the crops. Doesn't try to avoid them or take the road. He immediately just starts walking right into them. Moving through the wheat field, he goes all the way through to the other side, makes it to the road. Several homes dot this area, as well as several shacks and other buildings, miscellaneous storages for farming equipment, of course. He goes to one, checks the general area very casually, and then opens the door and enters, closing it behind him.
Sorry, how did you describe this building?
It's a smaller shack, not too far off from the home that he was in size. If you had to guess, like, it's a one-room building, and it could probably fit comfortably 5 people sleeping there. 6 people.
Interesting. I'm not going inside, but I'm going to keep spying, see what I can find.
Sure.
I mean, I'm not really interested at this point, but I'm not sure if I can push my luck, but I will. Just not yet.
Of course. The man's in there for a while. You guess at least an hour or two has gone by. It's hard to say. Time's relative, after all. Unless you're a true Bruja.
Well, don't you?
And eventually he comes out of the building, and he makes his way back to the city again.
Interesting. Does he appear to have taken anything at all?
No, he does not.
Is he taking the same path he took before?
No, actually he's not. He's going, he's avoiding the farmland this time, and he's taking the road, and he's going a little bit north. He definitely wouldn't be going through L. He would probably, if he's taking a route, you would assume he's going to the J gate on the map. If he's returning, at least.
Yeah. I'm going to make a mental note of where this shack is, and I'm going to keep following it.
Okay.
Is his gate lighter? Does he appear to have left something behind? Any check possible here?
Yeah, sure. Give me a perception and alertness. It's gonna be a difficulty of 8, though.
That is 1.
Okay. You aren't quite sure if his gate is lighter, but you get the vibe that something was left behind. Because he didn't leave with anything large or extraneous that he was obviously carrying with him. So, I mean, it could have been something small like paper or a small note in a package.
Well, you know what? What kind of tracker can't follow tracks that are like minutes old? I'm just gonna take a look. Yeah, just take a look at the raven still perched on my shoulder, and look at the man.
Will you follow him, Valraffen?
The raven gives a soft caw and then takes off. Headed in the direction of the man.
Gratitude.
Yeah, Ulfar is just going to not tear this place apart, but he's going to search for the note or whatever else might have been left behind.
Okay. Ulfar, you enter this small-esque cabin, and inside's nothing that stands out immediately. There's farming equipment, there's bound up hay, there's a lantern, a couple of barrels and crates. Nothing that stands out immediately, though.
Interesting. What is this, an investigation thing or?
Yeah, if you would like to, you can make an intelligence and investigation roll.
4.
Okay.
5.
No. What do you mean 5?
Isn't it? Don't you double tens as well?
Do I?
You do.
I guess I do. 5.
All right.
Yeah, treat each result. Okay. Cool.
You walk in and look around. You just smile and you walk over to the floor that has a noticeably larger amount of hay over it, and you just kick it to the side, revealing a small door.
Yeah, Ulfa is just going to. Is this like a? Sure, I'm just going to very slowly, carefully crack it open.
Okay. You open it up, and you can see clearly that below is just a smaller compartment. You could hold maybe a man or two inside, but there is a small chest inside of this smaller little miniature room.
Interesting. Sure. Yeah. Let's find out what's what.
Okay. So you open up the chest.
Yep. Carefully again.
Of course. There's no
Ulfar
lock
isn't
on it.
aware of. Sorry.
There is no lock on it, so you just click it right open.
Yeah, Ulfar isn't aware of how impervious he is to arm now. So.
Okay. So, as you open up the chest, inside you can see that there is a small object. It's wrapped up in cloth, and it's probably about half a foot wide, maybe 2 or 3 inches deep. A small, hard object wrapped in cloth.
I'm going to inspect it. Is
Okay.
it the effigy of an old god?
No. When you open it up and by removing the cloth, you can tell it's a small box again. So it's a box within a box. But at this point, you can hear the faint rustling of what sounds like metal.
From inside or?
From inside, yes.
Inside the box, I mean.
Yeah.
Okay, that's peculiar. As if there's a metal object inside or something, a mechanism.
As though it's like multiple small metal objects inside.
Okay, so again, carefully opening them up, finding out what's what.
Opening up this smaller box, you reveal that it's coin. A number of silver coins. You can't quite recall what they're called, though. Whatever that person was claiming they were called. That man that you pushed off a cliff that liar.
Yeah. Yeah, filings or ponies or whatever, it doesn't matter.
You count 20 of them. And a
That
piece of
seems
paper.
easy. While I can definitely read, but I don't suppose this is in some old Proto-Germanic language.
No. Unfortunately not.
That's unfortunate. I am going to grab everything, going to pocket this stuff, and I'm going to replace the box with something very similar in size and shape and weight. Just replace everything inside the chest and leave it be. And then I'm going to go follow the other guy again.
Okay. You're able to catch up fairly easily, thanks to the help of your companion in the sky.
Also, I
The
am experienced
trail,
tracker.
of course, but an experienced tracker with something pointing, hey, right here.
Yeah, that's
It's always
helpful.
helpful. You make your way very quickly to the bird. The raven points and just circles the home that you had first left out on.
Oh, he just returned to the scene of the crime then.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna go back home then, following a different route, entering, through a different gate and all that. Even though apparently, are people just still not seeing Ulfr?
At this point, how does Ulfr feel? Does Ulfr care that he is seen, or is he just curious if he's seen?
He's just curious at this point. It's
There are
purely
people
academic.
who clearly see him at this moment.
Interesting. That's new. Yeah, he's just going back home. Doesn't care. Nobody has any particular reason. He came in through the north gate. The K gate.
Okay. So
H. Yeah.
okay. So you make it back to the house. I assume that everyone's still there too.
Scotty and Darius went
Scotty and-
out.
Okay. So we'll go ahead and run that next then. While Ulfr was out, Scotty, Thaddeus, what were you doing?
I was pretty much trying to get a lay of the land before I start making plans on like certain advantages. Kind of noticing maybe more dark alleyways or easier ways to hunt people down or bring them down this way and things like that.
I was just
Okay.
following her.
But the lay of the land must come first.
As you move throughout the town, you make note of a number of key vantage points, whether it's slightly taller buildings over by the harbor itself, which give you a good overview of all the boats that are coming and going from the harbor. You are able to pinpoint the wealthier parts of the town versus the more downtrodden areas as well.
Okay. How much time would pass by while just, walking through all the city?
I'd say roughly about 2 hours.
All right. Does anything happen to Scotty while she's walking about? Any whispers or anything she should know about?
You get a couple of unusual stares, but for the most part, it's nothing incredulous or anything overtly negative. It's more so there's a woman who's dressed a bit ruggedly, bright red hair, traits that aren't seen this far south in England that often.
time for a new settlement. Okay. Then I'm all good, at least for now. Actually, Scotty, after rummaging through everything, she's gonna also start focusing on the lower part of town, the ghettos, and she's gonna circle it just a little bit more often. Maybe take some note of any type of characters who seem very unwelcoming. Anyone who maybe try to force them upon me or anything like that. I want to make sure I take note of these areas.
Okay. Moving throughout, you don't really have anyone cause you any issues or say anything towards you. If you had to guess, it's probably because the town guard exists and they make nightly patrols.
Oh, good. All right. Scotty would head back to then the house. She's got her lay of the land. The outer gates will be next.
Okay. So, you make it back. Not long after, Ulfr himself shows up. Maybe about 10-15 minutes after you do, Scotty. So, seems like you're all there. And Val hasn't even left.
Nope. You probably just finished the book.
Ulfr tosses a cloth-wrapped parcel on the table next to Val.
Compliments of our new friend.
You left gifts for us. And
He seems generous and careless.
did you get a good look at him?
Strangely, yes. He did not seem to have noticed me.
What would you say?
He stared right through me. Strange.
When he says this, Val, opens the book back up and goes to the passage of, off this gate.
Oh, yeah.
From what this book is telling me, it seems that you can hide from others by influencing their minds, making them think that you're not there.
It doesn't seem likely. Others could see me easily.
Are you letting them see you?
No.
He phrases it like a question, and Stare just gives him a strange look.
No more than usual.
Try it now. Make it where I can't see you.
Very well.
Then he just strains and almost goes cross-eyed.
Is it working yet?
Oh, no, not quite.
I read the passage and it says I can't be looking at him, more than likely, so I'm like, oh shit.
Does it specifically say that at 2 dots? That seems a lot.
Says it gives familiar with general effects of 8 basic disciplines.
General effects.
Yeah. General effects include that the ability does not function if a user is currently being seen.
Okay.
And I, turn away from him.
I would consider anything underneath general effects to be anything within like the 3rd dot and lower.
Yeah.
So it says everything about every facet of every one of those disciplines, 3rd dot or lower. That seems like a lot, but okay.
Not every facet, just the general basics, like obfuscate allows you to hide from people by blurring their own mind's eye to you.
Yeah,
Potence
but
be strength.
Sure. Anyways, yeah, Ulfr gives it his best shot. Just kind of standing there awkwardly.
And once I turn back towards him, Zach, is he there?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
He's still there?
Yeah, he's still there. He's just shaking now. Just trembling ever so slightly. Just focusing.
I'm rereading the passage to make sure
It working.
you're doing great.
Do not patronize me, little brother.
It's not working.
If not that, then what?
Who knows?
Within the book itself, it does have, it does describe that most of these abilities don't function on a force of body, but more so a force of will.
Misread this part right here. Or looked over. Says it's not, you don't have to use your body, as I see him probably stop his shaking and all that. It's more will based.
I am willing it to be so. On to more important matters. There is a note within the box. Some of these coins.
I look over at the coins, and the note is the note still inside?
Yep,
Parchment.
the note is still there.
What type of coins is this?
They are shillings.
Wow.
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 Oh, these are shillings. All right. I'll read the note.
So you read through the note, and you immediately see that it's a request. It's for an assassination.
On.
A group of individuals who stand out greatly, who have just arrived in the city, noting that these lepers must be dealt with.
Look at Wolfer, and he's like, keep an eye out. Seems the fans are becoming rowdy.
Again.
It's an assassination note. And whoever it is paid decently well.
I mean, yeah, it's like 20 shillings. That's like what, like each life's worth like 4 or 5 shillings?
There's an opportunity.
It is quite disappointing that our neighbors are assassinated us during the second night technically.
Consider, little brother. We follow it up. The assassin to its master. The masters to our resources. And if there is a guild, our guild.
Do you know where this man is now? The fan?
I do.
You think he's dumb enough to go to his employer right now?
Wolfer frowns.
His employer.
Whoever paid him to do this.
Believe it's his money.
No, I believe it's the person who hired him who's doing this.
Wolfer frowns. He seems confused.
No, little brother. This man left behind the request, surely.
Is it the same handwriting, Zach?
As the note itself? It
From both notes.
is, yes.
Is there a check I can make to because now I'm less sure to determine which one is more likely? Is this guy the assassin or the employer? Because I'm pretty sure he was the employer, but now I'm less sure because.
Give me a...
My bad. I walked away for a second. Did you say assassin?
Yes, I did. Too bad.
Oh. Whoa.
Does intrigue work for you?
Is that a secondary that you have?
Yeah.
Is that a knowledge or?
That is a hobby talent. It is a.
Okay.
Hold on a sec.
I just can't remember which one it was. Give me a wits and intrigue then.
Yeah, it is the finer points of plotting, deal making, in the halls of power, practical use of power, etc. Wits?
Yeah. Yep, wits and intrigue.
No.
Hmm.
Not allowed.
Mm, uh,
Hmm.
I think I'm a reroll. Willpower. No, I'm not. I'm just gonna make the assumption. No, 0 successes.
You're not sure. It could be a multitude of things. You don't have a lot of experience in these areas, but you have considered and given thought to certain actions. But you're just not equipped with enough information to make a well-founded guess. It could be either or. It could be something else entirely.
Ulfer frowns. Now he's confused.
It could be him hiring someone or whatever. Do you want to watch over the location where you found these things?
Very well.
See who shows up, if it's a different person.
The shack was large enough for several.
Not the greatest at hiding. You know this.
Shall we fetch them should anyone come?
Repeat that. You cut out like the beginning part.
Shall I? Excuse me. Shall I fetch them should anyone come?
I'll go to you when you get someone. You have a friend, right?
We will see.
Very well.
Ulfer leaves a few instructions for Val to find the shack. You know, he'll be there
Yeah.
until
They're
he's
easy
not.
instructions.
If the Raven doesn't come find you, is it a messenger? I don't know. Is it Ulfer's messenger? It seems nice. Yeah, Ulfer's just.
Is it lulling you into a false sense of security to later kill you? Who knows?
No, it's not doing that.
That's what you think.
I mean, I'm not being lulled right now, anyways. Yeah, Wilfred is just going to go out there to watch over the thing. He's going to. Actually, we should just leave the payment in there, right? Payment in the note.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll hand it
Bring
back
it
to
back.
you and all that.
Bringing back the payment and the note, putting everything back the way it was, and watching everything from the outside.
All right. So after about an hour or so, after you have taken up post to watch over this small little shack, a huddled and punched over figure makes its way to the door of the shack and enters, closing it behind themselves.
Did he seem to be moving with more grace than the one who entered previously?
Less
Or
grace, actually.
Would
Interesting.
never expect a crippled man.
Sure. Ulf is just going to see if he can will himself to be unseen again, like Val said. That's utter nonsense, obviously, but who knows? He's going to see if he can spy upon the person who entered.
Sure. Yeah, you're able to see them perfectly. Clarity is no issue for you at this point. But yeah, you watch them enter into the shack.
Their
They're in there
demeanor
for-
change at all?
No. Demeanor hasn't really changed. They're still hunched over. Seems like they might be a fairly frail person.
Okay.
Eventually they come out of the shack and they're still hunched over.
Did they go under?
It seems like that. Were you inside the shack or you outside of the shack?
I mean, I have 6 dots in my perception rolls. I should be able to hear the trapdoor, right?
Make a roll for it.
Okay, perception
you get.
alertness.
Of course. It's gonna be a difficulty of how far away are you going to be?
Immediately right next to it.
Okay, so it's gonna be a standard to just 7 then.
Okay. Also, standard if he is predatory and whatnot applies.
Okay.
That'll be 2.
You do hear the trapdoor open.
I'm going to, yes, just trust that I'm hidden, carefully open the door and spy on this person from inside. Why not? Since, I've been using it, is he supernatural or mortal or ghoul with a humanity of 4 or lower?
He is a human.
Yes.
That much you know, but doesn't give off much of a predator vibe at all.
Okay.
Definitely not kindred, not supernatural in any fashion. That much you can tell.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna be spying on him.
Okay. You can definitely tell that if this man's putting up an act, he's doing a fantastic job. He's still huddled over and hunched, carrying the small box in both arms even. Kind of curled up around the bottom of it and over the top, and just huddled and hunched. Slowly makes his way away from the town, further out to the east.
Fuck it, I guess yeah, why not? Follow the money, right? That's not what they meant, but that's what I'm doing.
I mean, I can't complain. The analogy works. So you continue to follow the old man, heading east, and he takes you through the woods. It's quite an interesting sight seeing this strange little old hermit moving through the trees. He doesn't seem to have difficulty maneuvering in the woods, but he still moves as though he is old in of itself. Just doesn't have any added issues because of the
Implying experience or grace.
probably experience at this point.
Okay.
If he's that old, grace probably isn't on his side.
No, but I've probably seen under the hood at some point while he was coming up the stairs, right?
Yeah.
Is he in fact an old man?
Yeah. He's old. You can see the white hairs all over his face. The top of his head. He's one strong breeze from becoming a pile of dust himself.
Jeez. Any family resemblance?
No.
Okay. Still following.
Of course. So, eventually, the old man makes it to a bit of a clearing in the woods itself. And the noticeable thing is that I'll put this. The area is eerily quiet. There's not much going on out here. It's the faint sounds of the wilderness itself. There's a small house in the middle of the clearing, and not much else. old man enters the house, shutting the door behind him.
A, is it made out of gingerbread? And B, are there any torches in case I need to burn a witch? Asking for
No
a friend.
gingerbread, but I cannot confirm nor deny that there might be children inside of an oven inside the house.
I mean, if there is, that's just convenient. That's not what I was asking. I prefer my children medium rare, though, so I might hold off on burning the house down.
Jesus Christ.
Fair point. Fair point.
Yeah, just gonna creep up to the house and see what I can learn. I mean, at this point, I'm not really creeping. I'm just standing there.
Yeah, just 8 feet of you standing there.
Yeah, it seems to be working.
Eye patch cat, you can't prove that. So, standing at the window, looking in, you see an old man at a table, opening up the box, pulling out the silver coins, whatever that fraud called them, slivers. As far as you're concerned, they could be called cow dung. It wouldn't matter to you. It's all nonsense. And he's putting the coins out on the table and counting them individually.
Is there anyone else in the house?
No, there is not. But you do start to take a look around, figuring that whatever he's doing on the table can't possibly be that fascinating. He's counting coins. You start to look around the house, and that's when you notice there's just walls of weapons and equipment. Swords,
Interesting.
axes, daggers, a couple of maces.
Interesting. Huh. Anything come off as remotely familiar?
Like the weapons themselves?
Yeah, any, I don't know. I'm not asking specifically about Ulfbert swords or anything like that. Any insignias that Ulfr might know, or...
No, you don't see any insignias on any of these weapons.
So they're okay. Are they remarkable in any way?
They look remarkable in that they're well kept. Every single one of the weapons has a gleam to its blade that is noticeable. You would guess that this man takes care of them pretty well. The small fire that's going in the fireplace inside the home itself, the lights casting off of all these weapons very, very well, and further enhances and sets home the idea that this person takes care of their equipment.
Interesting. What time is it by now?
At this point, it's probably close to midnight.
I'm guessing the Raven is still with me.
Yes, the Raven is not far from you, probably about 15-20 feet away on a branch, just watching you.
Yeah, Ulfr is just going to approach.
Can you carry a message, Valraffen?
The bird caws and lands on your shoulder.
It is to Valentin. I have found his man. Can you bring him to me?
The bird tilts its head curiously at you and then takes off.
Ulfr just frowns. Is it just leaving, or is it leaving to do what he asked? How can he tell?
It just
Bird goes the
flies
opposite way.
60 feet over to the side and starts eating some grub. Fantastic.
Found
No,
a
it
rat.
flies the direction of the city.
Ulfr just shrugs. This is a divine messenger. It's probably smarter than he is. He hopes. Right? Probably.
It took a few courses at the Divine College for messengers. It's community based, but it works.
Sure. Ulfr just goes back to spying on the old man.
Sure. You watch him read the note, at which point he takes the note, sets it in the fireplace, and burns it. Other than that, the man begins to pull some weapons off the wall and starts to clean them. And do general just care and maintenance on them.
Does he seem inclined to, like, is he preparing for war, or what's happening here? Is he
It
just
seems like it, because when he pulls down one sword, as an example, he proceeds to clean it and polish it, but he doesn't put it back up. He just leaves it there on the table.
okay? And does his focus appear to be mainly on swords?
No. He does have a pair of daggers that he also pulls off the wall and provides the exact same level of care to those.
Ooh,
Interesting.
new daggers.
No axes, spears, anything like that?
No.
Okay, good to know. Yeah, Wolford just sits there and wait. He's not really sure if he should leave or whatnot. He'll just stick around.
Right. Of course. So, with that, we're going to take a quick 10-minute break. So, chat, if you would like to grab snacks, grab drink, El Baño, the bathroom. Now's a good chance. Voice chat will still be on the Be Right Back menu, so you'll be able to still talk to chat, and they'll be able to respond to you guys. So go ahead and go grab that stuff. We'll be right back. You guys are all back at the coterie house. What are you doing?
Outside of Hoover.
Yeah, Ulver sent a raven or something.
I'm making tea just to smell the tea.
That
A man of class just wafting it.
so weird.
This is how Thaddeus finds his center, his rocky hard center.
Well, I can't drink it.
True. So, send a raven out. The raven conveniently does actually fly all the way back. Makes it to the house and even does a little rapidy tap 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 on the window. The raven has come tapping on your door.
Val was going to hand Scotty the book of Kindred that he has. Then I hear the tapping.
And screamed nevermore.
Yeah. Should I throw my daggers at it?
No. Let's not do that.
Something tapped at my window. Wah!
I see the bird and I open up the window.
I wish you would.
You open up the window, Val, and the raven wastes no time. It comes right inside and it calls at you.
I see.
She's like, yes, fair point, yeah.
It looks the same, like the same raven, right? That's been calling at us for the past
Yeah,
week or so.
it's definitely the same one. You,
Does Scotty notice it? Is it obvious to Scotty?
yeah.
Okay.
Raven calling inside your house is kind of a thing that just stands out.
Seems Uther has found what we've been looking for.
Were you able to understand the bird like we did?
Nope. I just told him to send his friend.
Ah.
I don't have to understand it. It goes that way, I follow that way.
Same.
And
If you guys want to tag along, come.
I will follow with Mr. Tika.
All right.
Mr.
Boy, it is.
I can use it for a stroll.
Does it work when you move?
Yes.
If it's all the same matte thing behind you. So, like, the night sky is a good example. On a cloudless night, yeah, basically.
I step out the door, and while looking at the raven, I'm like, take me to him.
You're lucky,
The bird
bird.
takes off.
I almost threw this dagger at you. And Scotty walks or follows Valentine.
Are you threatening a messenger of Odin?
No? I'm saying
Seems
it
like
better be
poor taste.
careful.
Uh-huh.
So, you guys follow the raven. It heads east. Eventually, you follow the bird through the forest and make it to right where Ulfr is.
Is Ulfur hiding? Like
Yes. Yes, he is.
is he obfuscated?
You don't
Yes, he
see him, but the bird lands right behind a tree, and you can't see the bird from where it landed. But as you walk around the corner, the bird is on Ulfr's shoulder, and you can see him now. It's kind of weird to you because he's sure as hell bigger than the tree he's behind. But
Seems
now
like-
you can see him and didn't before.
It seems you do have that power, Ulfur.
Evidently not. Well met, little brother. Your quarry is inside.
You know. What's he doing?
Caring for an improbable number of weapons.
How big is this shack, Zach? Or
It's
hut?
15 by 15-ish, give or take a foot.
Shall we say hello?
Where is this relative to the town itself? Like, what are we? We're outside the town, right?
He
Outside
said
the
somewhere
walls.
Yeah.
to the east.
To the
in the
east.
Yeah,
woods.
you're
Yeah.
Okay.
you're out in the woods to the east of Southampton.
Got it.
Tip our hands already. Very well. To what end?
Questions as to why, I guess. Curiosity, really.
Be wary, as we've yet to determine our limits.
Nods in. He will walk up. Zach, are there like torches or anything outside the house?
No.
Okay, they're all inside. And
Seems like there's only one. It's a large fireplace with a fire going.
how close is the door to that fireplace? You would say?
10 feet.
I guess my shadows might attack it soon. As I go over to the door. Before I do that, I just look back at everyone, just I love to basically like motion them to hide. While he's doing that, he will knock on the door.
Sure.
Ulfar remains hidden, but at hand.
Of course, of course. You
Scotty's
knock on
right
the
next
door,
to Val.
and
I'm gonna be on the roof.
So, Val, who just asked you to be elsewhere and hide?
Yeah.
Right.
so the window that you were able to see the old man through, anyone who's still watching will notice the man immediately closes his curtains.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no answer at the door.
Shall I just kick it in?
No.
I'm on the roof. Is there a chimney?
Yes, with smoke
Is there
coming out.
smoke? There we go. Well, someone's home. I just kind of... I mean, there's no one around, so I'll be uncamouflaged and just kind of point at the smoking chimney. Like, yeah, someone's definitely still here.
I take a step back a bit, and does it look like there's a shadow behind the curtains, like trying to peer through, looking at us?
No.
Okay. Step back, and I would whisper. Hopefully, Wolfer is nearby, because he probably can't see him. If there's a back entrance or anything.
Is there a back
No.
entrance? Presumably, Ulfar has studied the place extensively.
Yeah, he's made his circle around. You did not notice any back entrance.
Ulfr gives a very low growl that Val knows enough to interpret as a negative.
I'll knock on the door again. As I step up to it again.
Still no answer.
You know, he might have something else underground. We could just simply walk in.
Who is currently against a wall of the house?
I guess I would be near it. I wouldn't say we're on a porch, so to speak. That's my idea, anyways.
There's no porch, just flat walls. So
Val
again,
speaks up.
Is anyone against a wall and or the door?
I'm
talking
Val's
like
close to
within
the door.
like 6 inches, basically. Like
Val's
you're
not 6
right there.
inches. You know, he is 7 feet, so he's probably like a foot and just knocking on the door.
Yeah, and I would be behind him, so.
Oh wait, Val is super big too. We're
I'm
just
7
very big
foot.
boys.
I'm 7'1".
Yeah, tall boy family right here. So
Uh-huh.
since Val's the only one who's relatively close enough, Val, go ahead and give me a perception and alertness roll. It's gonna be a difficulty of, we'll go with 8. You very clearly hear the sound
Oh,
of
wait,
a
is this,
click.
Is this a hearing based?
It is hearing, yes.
Or it'd be 2 then.
Yeah, you still hear the faint sound of a click. Not quite sure what it is. It could be like door locking or unlocking. Hard to say.
Could it also be like a crossbow, like a knock?
I guess it could be. You can give me an intelligence and let's go with archery. Be sufficient, honestly.
I wonder what this is.
Oh, I don't have archery, sadly.
Sure sounds like you're about to get
Well,
blasted.
you can still
with
roll it.
that
It's just
fucking
at
problem.
a
difficulty
minus
7,
1.
right?
Yeah, sorry, difficulty of 7.
I have archery.
But you're not close enough. You're hiding behind Val.
I'm to the right of him, but
You said behind.
A0.
Yeah, you're not quite sure. In your head, you're like, it could be a crossbow, but at the same time, it's like, it's a door. And it doesn't seem like it's a cheap door made out of, like, what will future be plywood. It's a pretty sturdy, solid wood door, so crossbow bolt's not going to go through that anyway. You're like, probably a lock. Is anyone else doing anything at the moment, or are you all just waiting to see if he'll answer?
Val's about to speak up about this.
Sure.
Yeah, Val's like, someone home, we see the smoke outside from your chimney.
Well, right about the same time you ask that question, you hear a loud whack. I'm gonna need a roll, from you and Scotty. Gonna need you to make a dexterity athletics roll. It is going to be a difficulty of 8, however.
Is that a fucking gun?
No, it's not a gun.
Oh, that rolled to OG.
3 successes.
1.
Dodging stage left.
Scotty, you are just barely able to just instinctively get out of the way of this. Val, not so much. A very large bolt shoots through the door, splintering it open, and impaling itself directly into Val's gut.
Oh, I suppose that's an invitation if I've ever seen one.
How much did it do, my friend?
What's the one? That was no crossbow. That was a mini ballista.
I want it.
That'll be 4 lethal.
Lethal from a ballista?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What's a ballista bolt?
Okay.
Oh yeah. It's not like a piece
It
of
went
wood
all the
coming
way
your
through
way.
you.
Nobody expects artillery in the old man's home.
Nobody expects artillery anywhere in anybody's house. I don't.
You said 4?
Yes, that is 4 lethal. So you're able to soak one of them?
Yeah. He hits me, and I'm like, well, I see. That is your answer.
So is this thing just in his gut? Like, did I like just duck
There's
down? Like, what did I do?
It's this giant. It's about like a good 3-inch diameter piece of wood with a metal tip that's sticking through Val's backside, right at the stomach level, and a long piece of wood that's probably about the size, a little bit longer than a man's arm, or about relatively the same length.
So
sticking out of his gut.
When Val says that gives him his answer, Val's going to step away from the door. I sidestep it.
Yep.
And I would just say, just towards where Orpher is, bring me his fucking head.
I would like to say that.
I would like to attempt
Right.
a neat maneuver that is debatably pointless.
Oh, go ahead.
I want to jump off the roof, right, and then fly and do like a cannonball thing through the window.
I was
There's
expecting
windows, right?
what was that
give-
one scary movie with that kid that just flies through the windows and just captures me?
Oh,
What's it called?
Zach,
the like evil Superman.
Yeah.
Give me a dexterity and athletics roll, difficulty of 8.
Zach, how many windows are there?
3.
Okay. Well, this could get awkward. I assume you've seen the PM.
I'm
He
about to.
says, knowing full well that you haven't. Could get interesting.
That's 2 successes and they're both 10s.
Nice.
Okay, sure.
It's 4
You
successes.
4, yep.
unseen. I'll even add Ulfer.
Yeah. He couldn't know. He couldn't possibly know until it's too late.
Maybe roll a 1d3, which window? Because this could be amazing or funny as hell.
So yeah, Thaddeus, you managed to do a bit of a somersault and dive straight through the window. Glass goes everywhere.
Is there anyone in there?
Give me a perception roll.
Just pure perception or alertness?
Well, I mean perception alertness.
Okay, I thought so. I was checking. 2.
You don't see anyone. You see what definitely fired the ballista bolt, though. It looks like it rolls out from underneath the old man's bed. It has a track and everything and is positioned straight for the door.
That's a damn shame. I don't see anything.
Yeah.
Did I see any? Like, is there a cellar door or something?
You don't see anything that stands out now.
I'm gonna push the bed out the way.
Okay, so you push the bed out of the way.
Yeah.
Underneath the bed, all you see is the frame for what would have held the ballista bolt and its launcher itself in place underneath the bed. Doesn't look like there's a secret entrance underneath there either.
I think it's clear, is what he will say to everybody. I believe it's clear for the moment. I think he ran. Or is hiding.
Scotty would reply, well, something's about to be clear.
So, yeah, you guys are free to act.
Scotty would walk up to Val and go, do you want me to take this out?
Please.
I just grab hold of it, and
Give me a strength roll.
I do have 5 strength. With
Give me that roll.
potions. Give me that roll.
Give me that roll.
Don't make it worse.
Lol.
You made it worse.
The gift that keeps giving ones.
Don't you have a potent?
You yank on it, and all it does is it tears the last bit of threading that was holding parts of his pants together. Now Val's showing the world everything from the waist down.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Time. Since when they woke up, they were all fucking
4
naked
days
as
ago.
hell. Yeah.
Right.
It's like, well, that's an inconvenience again.
I would just kind of look at Val and go, "Oops," and I'll go to the other side where the metal tip is, and I'll just hush it out of him.
You try, but you realize it's not gonna work either because it's got metal hook. So it's hooked in from that side. You gotta push it.
Oh my god!
Wood side all the way through.
Well,
Cut off the head somehow.
Right. I'll just go look at Val. I'll be like, so the other side has spikes. I could try to karate chop it and make it fall off, or I can
What is this
push from the other side.
What is this karate you speak of?
I know, right?
Snap the metal and just take it out.
As you wish. I'll try to snap it.
Okay, give me a strength roll.
Don't forget your potent as well.
There we
Yes,
go.
strength 3
Yeah.
potence 2.
You got 3 things of
Yeah.
potence and that.
Well, I have 3 strength and then 2 potence, so a total of 5.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you managed to break it off. You break it right before the head terminates into the spear shape itself, and the wood finally breaks.
All right. And I kind of take in the back after I snap it and I push the wood. I'm just gonna notice the giant circle now within this man, and just kind of go.
It's like a good
3-inch,
4-inch diameter hole just in the middle of Val's stomach, pelvic area.
I just look at Val and I go, "Does this hurt?"
It hurts like not crazy, but I'm more pissed than hurt.
Oh, I would
This is the part where
totally
Scotty
understand
sticks her
that.
arm through the hole. Come on, man.
Don't do that.
I want to so bad. Can you feel
Blow through the
this
hole.
as I throw my arm through the other
Like,
side?
it's almost like Val's eyes itself are moving with just anger. Just the blackness of his eyes are just moving in general.
Ooh. Anyways, I just look at it and just ooh. Well, I guess since it wasn't me, even though it almost hit me. Sorry I couldn't have wore you sooner.
Val just speaks up a bit like a more letting almost everyone in the house and everything know. Wolford, find him.
Speaking of which, Wolfer has slept inside the house, preceding
He has.
said click, and kind of just been waiting on that. It's a good thing, he didn't plunge through the window and slam into me, but not revealing myself or anything. What have I been seeing?
So you said you were trying to slide in before the actual bolt flew through the door?
No, I said I
After. Okay.
I did. No, I mean I didn't know about the bolt then. I just slipped inside the house before all that nonsense happened.
How would you have slipped in before? Because the windows themselves are shut.
Yeah, but I have obfuscate. I can just slip a knife underneath or push them, or just as long as they don't break.
Well, usually when you interact with an object, you have to make a roll for it.
Okay.
Go ahead and give
So
me a
what's the
roll
roll?
for it then. It is going to be
Any roll?
the same roll to activate the ability.
It's wits and self.
Okay.
We are backtracking to the invisible scene.
The invisible scene.
The invisible scene.
It
Captain
says
Flatwell goes under.
difficulty ranges from 5 to 9.
Yeah.
We're
So
gonna go
what is
with
that?
we're gonna go with I'd say an 8.
It's surprisingly difficult. What's making it so difficult?
Well, it's the 1600s. There's shitty windows out in the cabin that's not maintained, and the man inside is very attentive. So to not break it while it's making noise, cracking them open, kind of hard.
Irrelevant how attentive he is. It's whether or not he doesn't disrupt whether or not I don't disrupt my own ability, right? His influence is irrelevant because
His
it's obfuscated. It doesn't
It's-
rely on his willpower or anything.
It is blocking that person's mind's eye, though.
Yeah, in the ability, it describes that people's attention can vary the judgment of difficulty.
Sure.
It's left very vague, as usual.
That is 2 successes.
Okay. So you're able to get inside and somehow slip through the window without any issues. When you slip inside, that's when the crossbow itself, or the ballista bolt, is set off. You look around to see, but you also don't see the person at all. The old man you'd followed is not in the room.
Okay, and he like I said, he's not one of those mortals with humanity 4 or less.
No, he's not.
Okay, well, in that case, I guess I'm going to be following the command I was given. And I'll try and follow his tracks.
All right. Give me that roll for tracking.
Just
I tried not to say
survival,
that. Yep.
perception, or intelligence. Doesn't matter.
You take your pick.
Get out.
So that'll be 6.
Jesus.
Nice.
Holy shit.
Wish I could roll like that.
Yep. You sure do, pal.
I do. Ulfer, without a moment's hesitation, you stride over to an area, a small waste basket, with some scraps of cloth and some other things. You immediately spot a piece of string that's pulled all the way over there. It's attached to a trigger mechanism for the ballista bolt. Very fine string, but it's obvious to you. And it goes into the floorboard itself in this small corner.
Do I sense movement in there?
You do not.
Okay, well, I'm going to follow the tracks from the outside. Presumably, I'm not going to fit in there.
No. You look at the little trap door itself and you're like, oh yeah, no, I'm not gonna fit in there.
Yeah. Leaving from
God, he would.
Like your
leaving
thigh
from
would
whence
fit in,
I
that's it.
came. Yeah. And just I'm going to follow the tracks from that point, I'm guessing.
Sure. That'll work. So when you backtrack over to them, who else went inside the house again? Was Thaddeus?
Me.
Was anyone else going in?
After, telling Uther to find him, he would, he read in the books of kindreds that can heal their injuries. He's gonna walk inside and see if he can attempt to heal this giant hole in him.
Hey, what, Eye Patch? I'll let you pick one player to give a free reroll to. I gotta remove that option still. Sorry. It's a small breakaway. Yeah, the old system that we were using, it worked, but as we've gotten more popular, it's not quite feasible because some people are sitting on like 100,000 channel points, and I know for a fact like 5 people have 60,000 points each. So yeah.
Yeah, but those
that's a lot of
people who are
dice.
sitting on that many points, they wouldn't waste it on that.
We have
You know what?
bigger and better
You know what?
things to spend it on.
Maybe we will keep that one. We'll just keep that one. It's fine. We'll just keep. We'll change it to a re-roll of a single dice. Yeah, we don't need to free any pillows. This is definitely getting edited out from the YouTube. YouTube doesn't need to know this at all.
But yes,
Don't know what I'm do about the Twitch chat though.
I'm willing my body to heal itself, and walking in, I want to close the hole.
The hole does start to close. It will cost you blood, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Scotty
can
is
heal
going
that
to
if
watch
you would
this
like to.
process. She is just going to very much study what happens.
If you've ever watched the movie Underworld, and when Victor's revived, the bits of flesh and tendon that snap out after the blood enters his mouth, that's what you see the hole in Val's stomach do. Just bits of flesh and tendon shooting out and attaching across and adjacent to each other until it all slowly begins to knit and heal and close.
As I'm doing this, is it painful while doing this?
No, it's not.
Hmm.
It's kind
I
of like
myself am
having a burn
watching
and
this
then
happen.
having like aloe applied to it. It's discomforting, but then it's soothing.
I kind of, once the hole is closed, I go, so how did you do that?
I willed my body to heal itself. It's something we can do.
Oh, look at that. Val gets a reroll.
Does it make
Appreciate
you
it.
fly? Never mind.
Also, Val did, pick up his pants and all that.
Of course. I'm sure you can find some rope and retie them on.
Mm-hmm. And since Daddy has moved the bed, showing the little ballista,
Yeah.
this what shot me. This is what advancements we have done in warfare over the years.
Right. Yes, it seems like it can fit within a house. It's pretty extraordinary. I want it.
Can take down a cow.
Skadoosh.
I'm also looking at all the weapons itself on the walls, right?
Oh, there's like easily 60 plus weapons on these walls.
Ooh.
There's bows,
Daggers?
axes, daggers, swords, multiple different styles of swords, two-handed, one-handed, hand-and-halfers. Just
Question, Zach,
every
it's-
toy.
We abruptly ruined his plans, I guess, of counting money and all of that. Is the money still on the table?
Yeah.
And the note's not there, I'm guessing.
Correct. The note is not.
Okay. Oh, also, hold up. What would you say the difficulty of that fire is? Keep forgetting about this.
Like a. I think it
It's
was
so
an 8.
difficulty, really. That fire's out.
All right. When you walk
Scotty-
inside the house, the fireplace snuffs out.
Scotty kind of goes in defensive mode. What was that?
Just like sees the shadows moving and snuffing the fires out. Just doesn't say anything. Just notices that. Takes the coin on the table, pockets that.
Okay.
Where is he? If he's not here.
I told you he must have run away. He must have another way out. I don't see Thaddeus. I'm guessing Thaddeus nor Ulfer is in the house, correct?
I mean,
I'm still in the house.
Yeah, he's still.
Yeah.
I think
Oh, okay.
Wolford is invisible.
So far as you know, he was never in there.
Right.
Oh, okay. I go, he must have ran somewhere. There must be a hidden compartment or something in here. We're all looking around the house. I'm guessing every corner was.
You can
Watched.
give me a perception and investigation.
Yep. I'll let you guys go ahead because I cannot do that.
Difficulty of 8.
Yeah, I'm pretty mediocre at it too, but let's see.
I just don't have it, so I can't do it.
Oh, yeah, I don't actually have investigation. You're right.
Yep, if you don't have investigation, you can't make the roll.
Damn thing.
What was the difficulty?
8.
How's 4 successes?
That works. Scotty walks right over to the small corner next to the ballista bolt launcher and immediately spots a small sliver of string going into the floorboard itself and easily concludes there's an entrance right here.
I just pointed out. I just go, look, it's right here. And I kind of step to the side. I'm going to give a guess how this thing's going to open and make sure I'm not in the way of anything else.
Yeah, Val was taking a step away from all of that.
And he'll pull on the string and
It kind of helps the door pop up. Door opens up, nothing flies out.
Scotty kind of looks with skepticism. She just kind of looks down and tries to hear if there's any tinkering or things snapping like string.
You don't hear anything at all.
Oh, shit. I just realized who we're tracking. The ancestor of the great Kevin McAllister. Fuck, it's all over, dude. We can
He'd
pack
be
it up.
Irish
So?
or Scottish.
So?
Not here.
He's
This
been
is
down-
England.
I mean, not that far off.
Pretty
And
far.
he does have all white hair, so I mean, he could be. Ever heard him speak?
Yeah. So Scotty pulls it, and I go, and then after her skepticism is kind of satisfied, she'll just kind of say, well, I don't hear anything.
What does it lead to?
I kind of look down. Is it like stairs or ladder
no,
or
it's,
something?
it's a ladder, and it leads down maybe about 6 feet. And then you can see that there's a tunnel that's clearly been dug.
There's a secret passageway, looks like, that he built down under the house.
So we have a rat.
A mighty clever one at that, at least so far.
I don't think I can fit.
Who can
No, it's-
fit?
It's a tight squeeze. The only one that could reasonably fit in this group right now is Scotty.
And I kind of look and I go, well, it's too small for any of you guys to go through. Looks like I'm going through this alone.
I would advise against it. This is already trapped. Who knows what else is trapped down there? As he looked at the ballista.
But we would ruin a chance to find him.
He knows what
It's a risk I'm willing to take.
I would advise against it, as I said.
As you wish.
I bet Chance
Yeah,
wants the
if
idea.
you want to take the risk.
I'm not stopping. I'm just advising against it.
Yeah, I know. I mean, Scotty thinks she can almost handle anything, so... But sometimes she needs to be reined in.
Hey, don't do that. You gonna get killed.
Well, what direction does it go?
It looks like it's traveling north.
How about this? I'm gonna go down there, see, do a little investigation. Don't go down it any too far, and then hopefully it'll give us a good direction. So I kind of go down there, let my eyes adjust because I can see in the dark perfectly well, and kind of go no more than maybe a couple of yards. See if the tunnel turns or does anything.
The tunnel
It's just a
does
straight
not
shot in one direction.
turn or twist or anything. It's from what you can see, keeping in mind that you can only see so far ahead of you in this pitch black tunnel, it seems like it just goes straight.
I surface back and I go that way. And I pretty much just run outside the door. I suggest one of us, and I guess right before I run away, I suggest one of us stays here just in case he tries to backtrack.
Or we can
And
leave something
take
heavy
off.
so he can't open up this door.
Scotty is gone. You figure it out.
How heavy does that ballista look? Is that
The actual firing mechanism itself,
mhm.
Including the bracket that's used to hold it to the bed and slide in and out underneath the bed, go with like 80 pounds. 60, 80 pounds, something like that.
Look at that, yes.
I'll move it back to be attached under the bed, like on the tracks. I assume that doesn't take a lot of effort.
No, not particularly, no.
And it's like hooked onto the bed, right?
Yeah.
Alright, I guess I'll blood buff as high as I can, my strength. How high can it go?
It can go up
Strength
to...
+1 indefinitely.
Yep, and then you can go beyond
Or
that, but it decays at, I want to say, like...
No, just
One every
lasts
3?
3 turns.
That's what it was, last 3 turns.
Okay. And it would cost... I have 3 strength, so it would cost 2 blood, right? To go to 5.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm gonna buff it to 5. And just, try to move it over the door thingy. Like, upside
Alright.
down. So that the flat part is
Right.
covering it. What would you like me to roll?
Do you have to roll for that?
I don't know. I'm tearing something off a set of tracks, so...
It'd just be a strength roll.
3 successes.
That would be you, Zuck.
So yeah, you tear it right off the tracks. Honestly, it's not hard for you at all. You can hear the wood cracking immediately. You just lift.
And then I'll just put it flat side down on top of
Okay.
that trapdoor thing.
Okay.
Wait, Scotty isn't down there still, right? It's okay.
Nope.
Nope, she is out of the house and running in the direction of the tunnel.
Yeah,
So-
I guess I'll go fly with Mr. Tika on in the direction that she ran in.
Okay. And then Val, what are you doing?
Oh, since everyone left Val alone, the one who got attacked. Or struck, shall I say. I guess he would start walking north where Scotty told him to go.
Okay.
So he gets
And-
bored of this.
And Ulfer, you were also heading north?
I left a while ago tracking this guy.
Yeah. I mean, you rolled for the survival tracking and just making sure that you
6.
didn't wait for them.
Oh,
you,
no,
you've long
just
since been ahead.
he
headed
said,
north.
get me this guy, so I'm getting him this guy.
You're getting the guy.
Doing the
Wow,
job.
hard worker.
I did say, no, bring me his head.
Yeah, but I wasn't going to do that in the first place.
All right. So you guys all begin to head north, chasing after this hopeful exit underground. Eventually, you do come across the end of a hill, and I would say, Ulfer, you are the first person, hands down, obviously, on the scene by a long shot. The rest show up within a few minutes of each other, and you all find Ulfer is at this tree at the top of the hillside, slightly up and over, and it He's staring into the hill underneath the tree. When you all walk around, you can clearly see that there's a small door that has been opened up.
Why is Ulfur standing there?
Assuming that he would stop to take notice of it and see if it was the same exit.
I mean, he'd just take notice and continue following the tracks.
Okay.
So far as he's aware, there's no one following him.
I mean, other than his group.
Yeah, he didn't.
He doesn't know that.
Yeah, he doesn't know that.
He just assumes we're incompetent.
He can
okay.
sense predators. I just figured.
You limited the area incredibly, so this is your fault. It says
figured you were
an
a big,
area,
beefy boy.
but what you decided it meant was an area the size of a pea.
That's not
But-
true.
That is exactly true.
Emporus disagrees. So,
Wow.
you keep chasing forward. It's probably less than a mile ahead of that small exit that you finally catch up with the individual running.
Ulfur is having fun by this point. This is what he just finds he's really enjoying that. So when he does catch up, of course, the very first thing he's going to do is just barrel into the guy and then vanish around the tree and go with the creepy laugh.
All right,
Keep
so
running, little man.
Yeah, stuff like that.
if you're gonna barrel into him, give me a dexterity and a brawl roll.
Sure, can do that.
Also, I think I'm faster than everybody, right?
4, and he can't see me coming.
You
I'm not
barrel
trying to
into
kill
him.
him. Not trying to kill him. Just
No, yeah, no.
pushing him off his feet, spinning into the grass, disappearing, full
He
on.
tumbles into the fallen leaves. Thunk, thunk, thunk. It's a couple of tree branches that are kind of on the ground there.
Keep running, little man.
He tries to get back up and keep running, but he's also pretty old. So, not making a lot of progress.
Yeah, just
You broke his hip, dude.
almost just manifesting into his path. Ulfur just comes out from around the tree.
Should I take the disciplined life alert next?
Wow.
So, yeah, you come around the tree. The man
Is
sees
this
you
guy-
and gives out a gasp, seeing your face. Then he collects himself.
You're old for a killer.
I need water, apparently. Wow.
The old man just immediately replies with, "And you're ugly for a human."
That's rude.
That was calling someone
True.
old.
Ulfur's just going to shrug.
Shit happens.
Ran out of water,
Well, I can't argue with that analysis. Yeah, that is true. Shit does happen.
That's accurate.
So, man looks at you, doesn't respond.
Just, looking him up and down now that is there anything about him that displays any recognition at all? Is he aware of what he's fighting? Or is he just an assassin?
He's not aware. Or
And he called
he's
me human?
done living and doesn't care. Because the emotions that you're getting out of him are just disinterest and unimpressed. So either he's defeated a ton of people and nothing scares him, or he's just out of his mind.
Or both.
Or both. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Got me there.
Yeah. Ulfur is just going to to stomp his way towards him and just crack him in the face once and just try to knock him out.
All right.
Got a Mike Tyson here.
Right.
Your course dexterity and brawl to hit.
Of course.
Chuck
So,
Norris, Roundhouse.
4.
All right, so you're gonna have. Well, he's not defending, so the extra dice are yours.
He's not defending?
Well, I mean, he's
Goodness.
kind of still on the ground to a degree.
Yeah, no, I suppose that makes sense.
Not quite able to defend himself that well anyway. Unless it was ranged.
That's a 3. 3 for unconsciousness. Bashing,
You
of course.
clobber him, and he just thunk out. One hit wonder. Just
Grabbing his head like an apple, just going to drag him back. Does he have
Okay.
anything on him, like a dead weapon, like a poison
He has-
pill that he took,
he has
or
6 daggers on him.
was he prepared to use any of them?
It looks like he was.
Oh, well, then he didn't. That
Did not.
sucks for him, I guess.
Probably wasn't
Yeah.
expecting someone to catch up that quick. And that quiet.
Thud, thud, thud.
So, Ulfer, you eventually make it back to the cabin itself
Well, we're all reaching him.
with the new
Halfway.
companion, and you see some buddies just digging.
What are you doing?
Wait, what are we digging?
Digging nothing because you didn't catch up. Now you see them right about the same time that they had made it to the door is when you finally made it all the way back.
The exit
You
door,
started
I
tracking him
assume.
within moments, so you were able to maintain a good lead on him. But they're currently at the door of where the escape tunnel led out to.
Ulfer just, walks up to them, doesn't say anything if they're not digging. Just
Yeah,
chucks
yeah,
the body at Val's foot and just stands there.
I look over at
You throw him,
Ulfer.
and you hear a faint ugh.
Yeah, Val looks at Ulfer, looking over him, making sure, he didn't get injured at first.
He's fine.
Yeah.
Except for one thing.
Mm.
Hate to say it, but
Mm.
nothing wrong with Ulfer's face.
Jeez, you people.
Val looks down at the ground, at this rat. Since he made a grunt, he knows he's alive. This is the man that injured me.
He got you good.
Surprised he's still alive.
Val picks the man up, seeing he's old and...
Yeah, he's
Is he on the heavier side?
no, he's on the frail, skinny side.
He's knocked out, you said?
Yeah.
Are we close to a water source?
Yeah.
I could always spit in a bucket.
I go over to the water source,
Uh-huh.
and is it like a little pond or a river or something?
Yeah.
I dunk his head into the water, waking him up.
As soon as you do, he immediately starts trying to get out of your grasp, trying to breathe.
I keep him there for just about like 5-10 more seconds. Lifts him up.
Okay. Yeah.
Throw.
You
I
pull
throw
his
him
head
on the
back.
ground.
He's just coughing up water at this point.
Wow.
Ulfer
Oh,
just
never mind.
positions himself so that he is the rock to Val's hard place, so to speak,
Sure.
cutting off any possible escape.
Val's looking straight at this man, like eye contact. As much as you can see, as my eyes are just pure black.
Of course. As one does. Yeah.
Why
The,
did you accept this assassination contract?
Money's good. What are you
For-
talking about? Why?
I pull out the shillings pouch.
Lepers don't belong in the city.
Near do rats.
Lol. Scotty laughs.
Perception, intelligence, or wits for empathy?
Wits.
3. Is he lying?
No?
Wow, because that
Money's
sounds
good.
like bullshit. Good to know.
Sounds like bullshit.
That sounds like something I'd say.
So who's the one who hired you?
I don't know.
Is he lying on that one?
He is not lying on that one.
Ulfos just shakes his head.
You just accept random things to attack us?
I don't care
Foreigners?
about where the job comes from, as long as it's a job.
Job of killing.
A job that I'm good at.
Clearly not. As a, I just look down.
He just
Where?
grins and he's like,
He grins.
oh, he grins. Like my ballista bolt would disagree.
What are you talking about? As I look down at, where he thinks he hit me. Nothing there.
He looks at you quizzically and then looks around. He's like, did it miss?
Quite horrible at your job.
I caught it.
Jesus Christ.
Looks at you and you just, I don't believe you.
No, from that, Val does get a salty taste in his mouth.
Right.
I think old age has gone to you, rat.
They have a whole lot to say. He just kind of glares.
How many of you will continue doing this?
What do you mean, how many?
How many more of you to attack foreigners? What did you call us again? As I look at Wolford.
Lepers.
Well, you see what had happened was...
No, be completely honest with me.
I
They'll
would.
keep sending somebody until the contract is accepted. Eventually, if no one accepts it, the contract is removed, but it takes a lot.
You saying
don't know
you're
who
part of?
does this?
I don't know who hires me. Just that they pay me well. Do not ask questions.
You're a part of a guild per se. Doing this. Independent.
Sorry, what was that?
Are you part of a guild?
He just shakes his head. I don't work with others. They're unreliable.
Seems that you have no one else as well.
Yes, it's quite a shame.
Is he really shameful? Or is he lying on that?
You can sense there is a bit of shame, and it gives you a bit of a bitter taste.
No one to go home to. No family. An outcast. And as I said, a rat. Is Thaddeus still up in here?
I'm probably somewhere,
Okay.
like perched in a tree or something.
You're basically right by.
I'm sure, this man doesn't notice a giant rock monster,
Yeah.
He's seen my face. Part of my flaw is that they just know, I believe. Isn't it?
I thought that's when you use your abilities.
No, it's whenever someone sees my true face, they're just aware that I'm nothing natural. If I'm not mistaken.
Also,
I don't
a
remember.
weakness that just scares mortals. in general.
I'll look it up. You guys continue.
Tell me, little rat, do you want to die?
Of course not.
Is he lying on that?
He doesn't seem to be. But
Okay.
you do get a bit of an urge to give it to him anyway, because he's asking for it.
So you don't want to die. Yeah, you easily take the lives of others just for some measly pay.
As long as the pay is good, that's all I care about.
Add to your collection of weaponry.
Of course.
Didn't you two motherfuckers push somebody off a cliff for no reason?
No, technically that was just me.
You're
Wait,
all
hold
right.
on. Did we say something about letting him go?
Oh no.
Oh, okay, good. Because I want to do something with him if no one else does.
No, I have an idea what to do with him.
Do we ghoul the old assassin man?
I was gonna
Yes.
cut off his finger and then drink his blood through
You
it.
just said yes.
Yes, that's obviously what we're doing.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to do it.
No. Look at Ulfer. Just like a look of bring him along as I walk towards his cabin. Back towards his cabin.
Without a word, Ulfer just grabs the back of his collar and drags the man through the forest.
Okay, yeah, you drag him through the forest. He has basically no resistance.
Eventually, he kind of gets tired, heaves him up, spins him around, then just slings him over his back like a sack of potato. You know what I'm picturing, right?
Yeah,
Kind of like the what's his name? Doesn't matter.
What's it from?
It's from Bleach. Kenpachi, that's the one.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
actually, I'm kind of seeing the resemblance there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just dragging him along.
Yeah. You
While walking
sling him over
along,
the shoulder
Val-
and drag him.
Val would say, "What do you value more, your arms or the legs?"
He just looks at you bewildered.
Answer
My
the question.
arms.
Your arms. Very well.
Is that a lie?
Is that a lie?
It is not.
It'd be a weird thing to lie about.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm assuming he's assuming we're gonna like tear them off or something.
You also value your mind.
My mind is nothing but a tool to finish the job.
And what a great job you have done.
Well, I see you got my point at least.
It's a pun.
Once we get to the cabin, Val is starting to move all his weaponry out of the cabin.
Uh-huh.
Does he have like any long bolts or nails that we can just nail him to his house?
Yes. She's gonna nail him to the house?
I look at everyone else. Any objections?
Alright. You guys nail him to the wall?
Ulfer just replies with a look, one of his looks.
Like a don't do it look, or like a yes do it look?
Hey,
That's a good question.
Ooh, can I throw daggers at him? But miss, or at least try to miss.
Ulfer and Val communicate non-verbally a lot.
Val looks at Ulfer and looks at everyone else and anyone has a use for him. Going once.
Scotty
Well,
just says, I see target practice, but don't matter to me.
Going twice.
look. I believe you guys may need somebody who can operate in the daytime to work for you, right?
You're suggesting the person who attempted to kill us.
Yes, but out of character. Ghouling forces loyalty, right?
It
Not
instills
completely.
a blood bond, but only the beginnings of it, and not anything overtly powerful. It's just more like like when you first meet somebody and you kind of think to yourself like, oh, I kind of like that person. That person's a good person to be around.
That's also not covered by 2 dots of kindred lore. The extent and specific details of a blood bond.
Let me see something real quick.
Well, yeah, but I have Googled somebody, so.
Zach, what's this guy's willpower?
6.
6. Okay. Let me make sure
Sure.
you will enjoy this. I don't care what your name is. Just die as a rat. As I look at Ulfer, and I dominate him, making him seem like he enjoys this.
He enjoys pain.
Okay, sure.
Of a 5.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay.
No, actually, no.
Goes
I would.
right. No.
Val would do it himself.
Okay. Getting his hands dirty. Breaking tradition. Yeah, you do it. You nail him.
And then I take one of his swords and just. He's gone. Can't really
Yep,
defend
okay,
for him
yeah,
a
yeah.
decap.
All right, so you decapitate him. Guess that's it for that guy. So, I think with that, what are you guys going to be doing now? Are you going to explore the house more, or?
I left all his weapons, outside, of course.
Well, Val seems to be pissed. And besides, this is kind of my purview anyways. I'm going to go through this guy's effects to find out if he has any useful possessions. Something along the lines of, okay, so this is blackmail material on this person, or this is information on that person, or
Right.
this is what I've learned about the people I work for. And also, any object of notable quality that could be sold.
You know what? There is one. In a small journal-esque set of papers that he has in his nightstand. The mystery guy seems to have discussed a lot of things with higher up nobles. Most notably, was constantly in talks with a group that had found out that the equivalent of a mayor, I can't think of the name off the top of my head right now, of the
Lord.
town. What's that?
Lord, probably.
Yeah, probably. The lord of the town was known to be talking to not just his wife, but another woman too. That if she ever found out, she'd probably try to have him killed.
So, blackmail information on the local lord regarding his marriage.
Yeah.
That's useful. But also, I can't read.
Wow.
This looks useful.
Wow.
Yeah, these are.
This is a paper.
Yeah, these are paper words.
It's got
Come on, get that.
hieroglyphs on.
Starts
I'm just
folding them
gonna-
into paper airplanes and throwing them. What are you doing? What is that? I
I'm
call
just
it
gonna read it.
paper plate.
If I have a chance to read it, I'll read it too. Doesn't
Yeah,
matter
you
who
can
does.
you can see the papers. You pass them around and you guys eventually figure out exactly what the papers are saying.
Wait, do you have academics?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Luther grabs it, pockets it. We'll bring it to Val. Does he find anything else? Object of notable craftsmanship that can be sold?
No.
Scotty just kind of brings it up casually. Does anybody want the weapons, or can I take them?
Luther doesn't reply, continues his search. Eventually, if he finds nothing, he's just gonna leave.
There's a nice looking mace. I'll take one of those, but
Sure, that's fine. Yeah, there's not much really else that you'll find there. Not a whole lot out in the middle of nowhere.
Once Luther catches up, he's going to hand the slip of paper to Val and comment quietly.
That's not like you. What set you off?
that thing that he said he thought he missed, he actually struck me.
Was that what happened to your pants?
He couldn't help himself. He could not help
It's just like
himself.
rope around him. Zach back over there.
Oh God.
Yes, he left a. I'll go over to where Scotty ripped the metal hook off and pick it up and show Wolfer.
How
It's
are,
still
you,
got bits of blood on it.
how are you alive?
To be honest, I don't know. It was painful, but as I said, I was more pissed and
Wasn't
Hurt.
consensual, that's for sure.
nope, I was not indeed.
Wolfer shrugs and continues on their way.
While walking with Wolfer,
So
I-
what we're gonna do is I'm gonna let you guys play this last scene out, and then we're gonna wrap it up for the night.
while walking away, I'm like, our bodies can heal themselves.
It seems.
You just
Wolfer-
need to
Sorry,
will
carry on.
it.
A great deal seems to be about will, but I wonder.
Wolfer kind of looks behind him to see that, he's out of earshot.
You are.
If we subsist on blood, what happens if we drink one of them?
I read a passage about that in the book Thaddeus gave me.
Tell me.
We can cut it from there if you want. As Val will speak to him about Diablo.
Yeah. The funnest of times. So.
Wolfer's face stretches into just a vile grin, and he says nothing.
That sexy smile. Chat, you're welcome to pick whatever you want for your raid message. Just make it not terrible.
RinVindor!
Or meat flaps.
Yeah, meat flaps. I like that one.
RinVindor's meat flap
No.
emporium.
No, absolutely not. Goodbye, everyone. See you for a movie night tomorrow, 7 p.m. Bye.